the incredible people that I met and the connections that I made that brought me here to Georgetown also came through this summer and helped me so much. So this presentation and this is for them, for my community. And the research question that I was exploring this summer were two, kind of connected, similar. And the first one what is the role of art and the artists within Latino communities, and how did the undocumented community react or respond to the art that they're seeing and they're observing and that they're experiencing on their day-to-days. And so throughout this presentation, the term that I choose to coin is creative resistance. And this term you might have heard before, you might not. Maybe you've heard it as artivism or artivism and creative resistance, but it's some artistic outlet that responds and that change something. There's a reaction, there's some change occurring in the mentality of people and in the space, in the physical space. My research methods, it's a qualitative study, and so I conducted semi-structured interviews and I also did a lot of observation. And the quote that I'm sharing with you all is from an undocumented poet who I interviewed, and I asked her her experience of crossing the border with her mom when she was 7 years old. And she's like, this is a question that not a lot of people ask me because they think it's rude. But then again, I think that that's why we, in our role as researchers, is to seek the stories and to find those narratives to share. Because she said, I learned a lot about it, and I still go back to that experience, and I know that others can go back to it too. So I really think that that was my role, a collector of stories. And so for the 3 months I spent in East LA, my community, Boyle Heights, also my community, it's just they're border each other. And then I went up to Oakland, California. And methodology frames after the analysis and observations in my field notes, I had this for about a month in conversation with PhD students, with professors in the field, community organizations, and also museum curators, as many experts as I could bounce my ideas and came back in. And with that, I came up with three main themes or findings from my research. My first finding, ironically, has to do with borders. Even though I couldn't physically go to the border, I still was searching at this mentality of borders and its borders and barrios. And so the border that I'm talking here is not a physical border, although some of them are very real and very physical. But I'm talking about a mental border, a mentality that you cannot penetrate. It can be a stereotype, it could be a perception of a people or individual or group of individuals that you've made or that people have made about a certain community of people. So that's a mental border that you can't trespass. In this case, the mental borders that I encountered was one, the criminality between the good immigrant versus the bad immigrant and how we're able to navigate that. And my second border is East Los Angeles and Boyle Heights. When you say that you're from East Los, it's not a positive image that you get in your mind. So how does the community resist that? How are they resisting those borders that are placed on them and those realities that are placed on their borders? And it's through art. One of the muralists that he created this mural. His name is Raul. You can search his work, Midland Murals. He has made over 250 murals. I will repeat that. Over 250 murals in East Los Angeles and Boyle Heights. So if you ever visit those communities, you'll probably see his work. And so he just describes, this mural talks about that the community should be united because divided they will perish. And his work really showcases what the community ought to be. And he's like, if I depict it in the wall, then they're going to see it and they're going to think that that's the reality. And so this is a way he's challenging those borders and those images and labels that are put in our communities. The second one, presentation is, this one is in Oakland, and this mural was dedicated to Black and brown men and women who left us due to police violence, racism, and gentrification. So they're very blunt and they're very out there in terms of what they are resisting and what they're calling attention to, what borders and barriers they're calling attention to. This is in Oakland. It's by 67 Sueños, which is an organization that I work with. Same here. Ernesto Vázquez, one of the artists I interviewed, he does a lot of migrant work. That little image back there says Muerto en Mexico instead of Made in Mexico. And they're just really challenging this. My second theme or topic is gentrified, don't gentrify. And this was very evident through my journey in Oakland, through my journey in Boyle Heights, right now the communities are facing the issue of gentrification, and they're fighting back, they're resisting, and they're doing it in an amazing artistic form of performance. From punk shows to visuals to spoken word, through cyclists and bicycle brigades, they're claiming back their land, they're claiming their territory and their spaces, and they do so with this unapologetic sense of in your face, we're here and we're staying. And also murals, housing is a human right. And that specific mural is also located in the Mission, and that's Oakland. And every single purple dot is a story of a person who has been displaced or has been affected by gentrification. So you can see an image of their stories. And if you're here and you're gentrifying these spaces, then it's always present to you as an outsider. Also the Monopoly one, that's my next slide. And here, same thing. Community, not commodity. On sale, no luxuries coming soon. This is all in Oakland. And this one, the last one is in Boyle Heights. In Boyle Heights, for Boyle Heights, by Boyle Heights people. And my third main topic, my third and last topic is La Cultura Pura, Culture's Cures. And as I went into, this is the one that I didn't think that I was going to find as much, because us, our communities, we don't really tend to talk about mental health and mental wellness, but it was very present since the very first day I got there. And it's how this art is being used as a matter of healing with our experience and within our communities that are constantly targeted by all these outside forces. And it's very much going back into the native indigenous roots and bringing down traditions like copal and incense and medicinal herbs and memory. Most importantly is memory. You see how people are trying to come together as a community, like that piñata for a party that we had at the community, and how they're encouraged to vote and remember their stories, because through it they'll be empowered and resist. And same, going back to the indigenous roots, this is the East LA powwow, and it's like healing through indigenous teachings. And most importantly, I think that this work and this type of persistence through art, creative resistance, is very much enduring. It's enduring. Before I came back on August 30th, a young youth from my community in East Los Angeles was killed. His name is Jesse Romero. And instantly, a lot of the groups that I worked with this summer, Self-Help Graphics, Ovarian Psycho, Psycho Brigade, Mujeres de Maíz, came together, made an altar, made a vigil, and all these are artistic outlets. They protest, do vigil, they made a mural at his site, and it's just to remember their stories and to remember their narratives in our communities. And that's why I did this research, to find those stories.